show you some of the key pieces that we've got here tonight. The first one, by Michael Jones, an emergency shelter. The idea is that the units can be dropped by plane on palletised and enable people in emergency situations to be able to put them together quickly. This one scored full marks and was a fantastic piece of product design. This is Corey Martin's project at A2. Corey's had a long history in the school of working in engineering. He's an Arkwright scholar. He's worked on the engineering education scheme, and his final year project was all about problems with water globally, and particularly again in third world countries, in emergency situations. It's a really needy project. The concept is that somebody will be able to filter water just by using things that are lying around. So you see these tin cans here. It's a system by just using a tourniquet, creating compression there, and putting a pump in here, and pressurising this unit. Inside there is a ceramic filter, and the water is filtered through there, and it comes out perfectly clean. Something that I feel is really important about the subject, in the sense that we're part of the solution, not part of the problem, in terms of some of the global issues that exist today. In the lower sixth, we have a challenging project which is called the Human Support Project, and it's where they're given a piece of plywood and asked to design anything based on the idea of human support. Ollie Head has come up with something quite different, looking at the idea of being in the shower. You step out of the shower and so you don't slip on the floor. So it's still human support, but it's stretching the brief. So we've got plywood in slats, nice sort of fish pattern, and something that I think really tackles the brief appropriately. So well done, Ollie. At A level, students have an opportunity to be able to design a whole range of different products. So what we have here is something very different. It's Matt Hammond's Festival Toilet. It's a folding out unit made from a quite interesting material called Correx, which is like a plastic cardboard. The whole lot folds down, and a lot of difficult design problems, as you'd imagine, but an interesting project to take forward in terms of thinking about, obviously, youth and festivals. Okay, one of the stars of this year at A level has been Robert Miller's project. Working closely with the military, he's developed a device to help filter out the dust in currently where the war zones are in deserts. So combining this idea of protection plus filtering created an outstanding project which the military have seen and are very impressed with. So well done, Robert.
Hi, my name's David Edwards, and I was part of one of 5 people as part of the engineering education scheme. This scheme was introduced into the school about 6 years ago, and was ultimately to get people more involved with engineering through school, rather than having to wait until they left and went to university to do it. Adam's been very successful in the scheme, and the aim is to be set a major project by a major company, and to spend a few months thinking about the project, creating some ideas, and then ultimately presenting a solution to the company. This year, our problem was to insert one of these, which is called a bush, into a Land Rover chassis. We ended up creating this model out of Fisher Technic, which we presented to GKN and to a final conference in Birmingham earlier on in May.
It's very small when it works, though.
They were very impressed with the project, and they found it very successful. And we've learned a lot from the experience.
Well, here we are outside the main art department, and what I'd like you to do is follow me up to the sixth form rooms, and we'll have a look at some of the A-level work that was done this year by our excellent A-level students. Right, this first room is the courseworks for this year's A-level students. These students have obviously worked on this from September, and have been looking at various different approaches to art and design. Predominantly painting. The focus in Adams Grammar School is often on traditional skills of painting and drawing, but we also want students to look at more conceptual approaches to art and design, and we want them to expand their awareness of art as an activity and not be kind of hidebound by any particular approach. So over here we have, for example, a sculptural piece done by one of our students, Leonie, and as a final piece based on the art movement Futurism, which is studied through the various practical students that you can see around the piece itself. And then she's created this piece very much as a kind of a sculptural piece, which is quite heavy, but just manages to sit nicely on the desk there. Here is set by Alex, has been investigating portraiture during the year. He's been looking at various artists as well. Has developed a high level of skill in drawing from the figure, particularly faces, and come up with a final composition which actually features me as one of the subjects. Well, I've been very privileged this year in that 3 of my upper 6 students have decided to use me as the subject for their work, and here's one example of a fantastic piece of painting by Michael Jones, one of our upper 6 students, who actually received 100% for his coursework. Phil Shotton is an amazing student, and his work is very precise, very controlled, yet at the same time very experimental. His study book is an immense piece of work which really has to be seen to be believed. Here we have a further selection of examinations from this year. We actually have some work that's painted onto the wall. This is by one of our upper 6 students, but was painted as part of an AS level. Again, we have the work of Mike Jones here. Mike has taken a slightly political stance here in this work, but his wonderful use of experimental approaches to painting come through very strongly. His drawing skills, very high-end drawing skills that he has, and his ability to really switch styles, moving from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional work with relative ease. A lot of the work here at A-level is the idea that students don't just produce nice pictures of things, but they're trying to say something in their work. They're talking about political systems, they're talking about the way we see ourselves as human beings, they're talking about their relationships with their parents. So we have students who are allowed to choose and pick the way that they direct themselves, and as a consequence, no one student's work is quite like the others. Well, this is a bit of a special room. It's reserved for students who really need a particular environment to display their work, particularly those students who need to control the light in order to get the best out of the work they produced. So this year, Chloe Jones, one of our A-level students, has used the room to look at various ideas in terms of communication, use of writing and communication, and how we as people communicate with each other. So it's a wonderful exhibition. Lovely to have the opportunity to have a room and a space that you can give to a student to present their work to both to the moderator and to an audience. Finally, we have Pippa's examination. Pippa took a very interesting approach this year and started by getting her year mates to write something about themselves on a piece of white card. And use this as a starting point for investigating aspects of psychology within individuals. He ended with this very effective piece, which is both self-portrait in terms of a direct image, plus a portrait of the workings, if you like, of the minds of the students and how they think. Hopefully, if anyone is looking at this from outside of the school, I encourage you to consider coming to Adams Grammar School to study art. Certainly an area within the school that we're extremely proud of. Thank you very much for listening.